Hello, hello. My name's Sammy, aka Four String Boy. A little bit of a different video today. I did plan on reviewing the Iris 8-string tenor, but unfortunately my thumb on my right hand is giving me a lot of grief at the moment. So I'm trying to do something that's not playing and instead go to my video that I was going to make next, which is talking about my top 10 favorite ukulele accessories. Now, as a musician, I'm always interested in basically little gadgets or anything that can kind of help me make my professional life easier and kind of flow a lot nicer. And so basically this list is the 10 things that I use literally every single day, 24/7, whether I'm practicing at home, teaching online, or I'm out there gigging. In the last issue of the Uke magazine, I did a little feature that basically talked about my favorite accessories for playing live, and that included ukuleles, etc. So I thought for this list, there'll be no ukuleles, but everything that accompanies the ukulele instead. And you'll still see me talking about some of the things that I did talk about in the magazine, but on video form, I get to talk about it longer. So these are in no particular order whatsoever. They're just 10 of my most favorite ukulele-based accessories. And I'll pop a link to each of the items in a nice pinned comment down below in case you want to read more or check them out. So number one, we're going to talk about the StillStanding from Openhagen. Now, some of you have probably heard me talk about the company Openhagen before. Just like the name suggests, they're based here locally to me in Copenhagen. And they're a Danish company that make Danish-designed accessories for guitar and ukulele. The StillStanding is an attachable ukulele stand that fits on the bottom of your uke via adhesive nanotape, giving your uke the ability to stand on its own. Now, I pretty much have one of these attached to almost every single uke, and that's because often I'm at my desk, either teaching or writing, and so I have to constantly pick up and put down ukuleles. And I really enjoy the tidiness of basically not having stands cluttered all over my office. Just attach to the uke, pop it down, easy. The stands are also fully removable in case you want to remove them. I've done this with my ukes and basically it leaves no kind of residue or no markings on the ukulele. It's totally fine. And the uke still fits in your gig bag with it on, no problem. Okay, so number two is the HangWithMe from Openhagen. So, sticking with the Openhagen theme, I've got to talk about these wall hangers that basically decorate my entire wall in my office. These hangers are available for guitar, electric guitar, and ukulele. And whilst I don't have a ukulele one off the wall to show you, this is what the guitar one looks like, basically when it's not attached to a wall. And as you can see, the ukulele ones are much smaller than their guitar counterparts. The inside is a thick chunk of cork to let the headstock kind of sink and sit in. And then we have the wooden outer, which is available in walnut or oak. So a ukulele hanger is a ukulele hanger, but for me, it's mainly an aesthetic thing. And basically when you push them in, they kind of just look like this solid, nice piece of wood hanging on your wall instead of kind of a big black weird hanger. I really enjoy the kind of minimalist Danish design, so obviously they work perfectly for me and I love how they look in my office. Okay, in at number three, we have the Diodario Micro Headstock tuner. As a ukulele player, there's nothing more important than being in tune, and so the fact that these can just kind of sit on your headstock really discreetly, really tinily is a godsend. The lovely and unofficial stepbrother of mine, Andrew Molina, was using one of these at the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain, and I kept stealing it off him all the time, and I just loved how tiny and inconspicuous it was on the top of the headstock. The fact that it's also just a universal chromatic tuner, so it works for guitar and bass, makes it a daily driver for me. So in at number four, we have the Roadie 3 automatic tuner. So continuing with the theme of tuning, if tuning absolutely bores the life out of you, then why not get robots and technology to do it for you? The Roadie 3 is an automatic tuner and it basically works for guitar and ukulele. And all you have to do is pop it on your tuning pegs, pluck, and it automatically takes you to the right tuning with perfect accuracy. It also allows you to save as many tunings as you like and separate them into instruments. So as somebody who uses a lot of different alternate tunings, it's really helpful and I can kind of separate them into high G, low G, and baritone. Now it has a secondary function that I can't live without nowadays, and that it has an automatic peg winder on it. This basically means whenever I'm restringing, it takes 2 seconds to unwind the strings to get them off, and then it takes very, very, very little time to wind the strings back up to pitch, and it's just way easier to do than manually tuning constantly. It's a really solid device, and he's super tiny, so actually the fact that I can just throw him in the backpack or the gig bag, he's with me all the time. Okay, so in at number five, we have the Positive Grid Spark Go. So this is another teeny accessory that I was introduced to at the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain. It's basically a teeny tiny little amp that is also a Bluetooth speaker and is controlled via your phone. So that means it actually has a ton of effects built into it as well. And just to show you how teeny this little fella is, I have two other teeny tiny amps that I love, but this one makes them look like absolute giants. Now, this little boy has presets and amps for bass and guitar, but I find that ukulele works just fine because it has kind of an acoustic simulator. And the reason why it's my favorite is because it's the smallest, but also it just has the best sound, and it's also the loudest. Because he's so tiny, what I tend to do is clip it to my trousers and then plug in whether I'm teaching a group class where I need to be much louder, but I still need the freedom of moving around. And again, it's tiny and built like a tank, so it can just fall into my backpack and I don't have to worry about it. In at number 6, someone not so teeny, is the Blackstar Acoustic Core 30. So still in the amp theme, if you're looking basically for something that's bigger, has a much better speaker, and can be used for small gigs, then that's what I'm using, which is the Blackstar Acoustic Core 30. It's a dual channel amp, and it has one channel basically dedicated for jack inputs, and then another input dedicated for XLR, so you can plug in a mic. Now, like I said, I use him for local gigs. The great thing is that he's actually pretty small, so he's very light and easy to carry around. That's good for somebody who doesn't drive like me, and I rely on public transport. So getting this kid around the city is actually really easy. And also, I think he's quite an attractive boy, and he's always sat there in my videos. So he's an absolute win for me. And at number 7, we have the Zoom AC3. So when I'm playing gigs that are bigger and have a PA there, or for example, I have to fly overseas to play a festival, I bring this little tank instead, which is the Zoom AC3. Now, I've already done a whole review on this pedal because basically I use it for every single gig I do, and I also use it for when I'm teaching online. It's basically my essential tool for getting the best sound out of a plugged-in ukulele. You can plug it straight into a PA, and it works as a preamp along with a tune and mute switch, a compressor, EQ, boost, and then it has a whole host of effects. Again, check out this review for a full demonstration of all the sounds it can produce and how it sounds different to just plugging a ukulele straight into a PA. And at number 8, we have the Mono Vertigo Tenor ukulele case. Now, getting my ukulele from A to B without any scratches or smashing it to pieces is very important to me, and that's where the Mono Vertigo case really comes in. Mono are a company I've loved for years. I own their guitar cases, and it's very much a soft case that is kind of more bomb-proof than a hard case. The most important thing for me is that it means that my ukulele can survive air travel just fine. I always pop my ukulele in the overhead compartment, and that has to survive alongside big suitcases, which obviously all move around during the flight. But thanks to the Mono, I don't have to worry about that anymore, and I know that it's always going to be properly protected. Even though it's a tenor case, it does have a little insert that means you can put a concert-sized uke in, and then it will keep it all snug so it doesn't move around. Add the fact that it comes in a mean black color and has quite a modern design, makes it my favorite gig bag and one of my essential ukulele accessories. Number 9 on the list, beads. Now, if you watch any of my reviews, you've always seen me talk about Ukelogics. They're my most favorite strings in the entire world, but we all know that strings are also subjective. So I'm not here to talk about strings and why Ukelogics are the best and you should buy them. But as most of my ukuleles have bridge pins, I do find that beads essentially stop me from death. High tension fluorocarbons and bridge pins can be a salty mix, especially if you're not used to getting the knots in the strings to sit basically in the right places. I'm pretty terrible at knots, and so if you don't get it also sat in the right place, you have a massive chance of when you're tuning up that everything goes bang. And yes, that means I'm an official member of the Bridge Pin PTSD Club. Now, with a bead attached to the end of the string, what we find is that basically it takes all this stress away from us. And obviously, we still want to make sure that it's not sat directly under the pin, but still we have no chance of the pin coming flying out at us. Guitars have been using this system for years, and so why shouldn't we? It makes restringing now an absolute breeze, and I don't have to worry I have a heart attack every time I restring bridge pins. And in at number 10, we have the thing that's most essential for me, 4-string boy, and that's the PickGrip from Openhagen. Now, it's essential for me because I, alongside my wife, designed this thing, and it is now produced and made by, again, our good Danish friends, Openhagen. It's essentially a felt pick that's held onto your thumb, just like a normal thumb pick would work, but because felt picks get worn down, you can absolutely just replace the pick part whenever you need to. Now, I have a whole video on this talking about the PickGrip and why I have to use it, but short version is Sammy has a stupid thumb with stupid skin, and so it basically allows me to carry on doing what I like doing best. And there we have it. There are Sammy's top 10 favorite ukulele accessories that I literally use every single day. Hopefully there's at least one item on that list that you've never heard of or you never thought about. So it's always fun when something new gets introduced to us and we're like, oh, that's cool. If you have any questions or you'd like me to have a more in-depth look at any of the items or review, then please let me know in the comments and I can put it on my list. As usual, like, subscribe, death, all the usual things. Have a wonderful day. Love you.